Hello there and welcome to another self-promotion, to say the very least. This is a self-promotion for another one of my books. This is The Four Friends, Volume 1. And in Volume 1 we see 4 short adventures featuring the characters Charlie, Brock, Spencer and Anna. Now, I'm only promoting this because, of course, well, why not? And also, this video may or may not be appropriate for this sort of promotion if you have younger ones, because this is a book for younger audiences. So I hope you buy a copy today, or at least pre-order whenever this gets released. Of course, it's released on the 5th of December 2025, and of course, if this video is before or after that time, it really depends, obviously. But regardless, I hope you enjoy the remainder of this video. This is just a very short, shameless promotion for my own stuff so you can give me more money. I mean, entertain yourselves with one of my products. Hello there and welcome to another edition of Unveiled. This time we're going to have a look at Series 9 Heat A. I hope you enjoy. As mentioned before, Heat E was originally Heat A, while Heat A was meant to have been Heat B. Terahertz, Nuts and Cranky were in the same heat together as they were in Heat A of Series 8. This is the second time Terahertz and Sabertooth fought each other in the same heat. The first was Series 6, thus making Sabertooth's victory here a vengeance. For a second series in a row, Terahertz finished the head-to-heads in a joint second, but was not able to progress after losing its battle with the joint second place finisher. The first minute of the opening melee was released a week early in the lead-up to Series 9. The mascot on the Jellyfish team's shirt is a cartoon jellyfish called Bloop, accompanied by a social media slogan, "One machine goes bloop." Prior to Robot Wars, both Dave and Jenna had competed on the BBC game show Total Wipeout, where they first met. Jellyfish is the second robot in the main competition to place 4th in the head-to-heads while having won a battle, the first being PP3D in Series 8. However, it was the only robot to do so upon being reinstated. This also made Jellyfish the only robot within Series 9 to place 4th in the second round despite winning a battle. Although Jellyfish and Ice Cream did not qualify for Series 10, footage from its application video was used in a trailer for the series. The umbrella used in Rapid's hero shot belonged to Tara Ware of the Pulsar team. As the £25,000 valuations of Storm 2 and Can Opener were spent across the entire competition's histories of the robots, spanning over a decade, Rapid is the most expensive robot to be purpose-built for a series of robots out of those, with their total costs being revealed publicly. Rapid is essentially just a heavyweight version of the team's Antweight Anticide. Aftershock's design is much like the team's well-known featherweight Inertia XL. The team's Beatweight Inertia B2 served as a close replica of the design of Aftershock and greatly influenced the design. Aftershock's disc hit Terahertz with such force that part of Terahertz's Hardox wedge was instantly welded onto the spinner. Aftershock was one of the few robots to be referred to as its predecessor. In response to a question asked on the Aftershock Reddit AMA, on the 7th of March 2017, Team Shock revealed that they attempted to enter an early version of Aftershock in Season 2 of ABC's BattleBots. However, despite reaching the final stage of the selection process, it was not selected to compete in that season. Will Thomas cited classic Robot Wars competitor S3 as one of the main inspirations for Aftershock. Interestingly, as of December 2021, Will Thomas owns S3 and its predecessor Sting 2. He plans to use both of them as teaching aids. Cranky's VT, which would go unused on television, saw Robin Herrick, Matthew Herrick and Isaac Potts playing musical instruments on the beach. Footage of repairing Cranky was also used in the How to Build a Robot instructional videos. Cranky's wheels were the same that was used by its predecessor, Pussycat. This is also the final appearance of Team Confusion after being in the series since the very beginning in Series 1. Nuts is one of 2 robots progressing from a Heat group stage battle in Series 8 to not do the same in Series 9, losing in the first round, the other being Foxic. Sabertooth is the only robot to reach the Heat final of the main competition despite only collecting one single win in the head-to-heads. Only Robo Savage achieved this before in a side competition, and both qualified on a total score of just 3 points. In its Series 9 introduction, Sabertooth was incorrectly spelled as Sabertooth, as in S-A-B-E-R, Tooth. Coincidentally, Sabertooth's second loss and second win were both in battles involving terahertz. Tomahawk was previously not selected for Series 8, and the new team for the robot will actually appeared in Dutch Series 2 with IDO. And that is it for today. Series 9 Heat A is a heat that a lot of people used to really like back in the day. Like, a lot of people would say, oh wow, this is a really good start to the series. And if you were to watch maybe the first 3 battles, yeah, sure, this is a decent heat. Until after that 3rd battle, everything just turns to shit because this episode is incredibly fucking boring. This is a episode which I think is highly overrated to a lot. Highly overrated in general, I should say, because it's just like, I think people often, when they view some episodes, they view it from the perspective of this moment right here is so memorable and so, fascinating that everyone can't help but love it. Who doesn't remember Sabertooth smashing up terahertz and gaining a second win? It's fantastic. Aftershock throwing Sabertooth in the air. Or what about, the opening melee where Nuts goes out the arena and Rapid just throws everything about? I think sometimes people, when they watch an episode of Road Wars, they often just pick out certain bits and they think that the whole episode is that way. And they don't really understand that there is an entire episode as well. There's more than just, the first 2 battles. There's actually a lot more going on. And when you watch the entire episode, you start to realize this episode is really boring. Like, there is not a lot going on throughout it. Like, the head-to-heads are some of the worst in the entire show, and with the exception of maybe Sabertooth versus Terahertz and Aftershock versus Sabertooth, there's nothing going on with any of the other fights. And it really highlights the issue that I have with the head-to-heads, where sure, you can have a great set of robots, but if the robots are limping and they're not really functioning as brilliantly as they should, what you end up getting is a very dull heat, a very slow slodge, and it's a shame because when you watch those opening melees, it's a lot of fun. And sure, when you see Sabertooth smash up Terahertz, it's a lot of fun, And it's just a shame that everything else just kind of slows down. Sure, there's some big hits, but these big hits basically result in a robot getting knocked out in 1 hit, and that's it. And of course, Jellyfish versus Sabertooth is easily one of the worst fights in the entire series, and maybe even in the entire show's history. It is so boring. And it highlights the issue with the head-to-heads. Like, they're not very good. They're not very, well adjusted. I think, had the episode have been like a normal regular episode, it probably would have worked well. You would have had, Sabertooth and Aftershock beat their respective opponents and meet in the heat final, and finally it just end like that. And if it was like that, this episode would be solid. This episode would be very good. But unfortunately, they decided to have heads, and it just slows everything down. It makes everything worse, and it is boring. And it also highlights another issue with the reboot, in the sense that this heat does not improve from Series 8. In fact, in many ways, it feels worse. What improvements they do is very minimal. Now it's more over the top, overly dramatic. It is now more silly, and it's, this is the reboot that is trying to say, oh, we respect the Roboteers more. We want to be more serious, taken more seriously, as they put dramatic music and act all over the top and dramatic, like it's some, US version of MasterChef or US version of Kitchen Nightmares, basically a US version of any show for that matter. It's a very poorly done, way of presenting the show. How is it that the classic was able to keep things quite minimalistic, and sure, they'd go over the top sometimes, yet the reboot can't? It's just childish. Anyways, let's have a look at what we get next time around. And so, let's have a look at what we're going to get next time around on the randomizer. So we got Series 7 Heat J next time. And this is a heat when I was young I actually quite liked for some reason. I must admit, when I rewatched it, I've come to the realization this heat may not be the best. It's still a decent heat for what it's worth, but it's not the greatest, and maybe when I was young I may have been somewhat blinded by the all-star quality of Thermidor in this particular heat, but nonetheless, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time around.